For more on the story, we are now joined by Madisha from the Congress of the People. He claims that he's still the deputy president of that party. Willie, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition. You have just affirmed to us in that press briefing earlier today saying that you remain the deputy president of COPE, but some of your members might be saying otherwise, and they say that they took a decision to expel you. Why do you maintain that you are still the deputy president of COPE?
Thank you very much. I don't claim, it is a fact. I am the deputy president of COPE. I was put in that position by the National Congress, and the term of office will only come to the end when we go to the National Congress this year. That ought to basically have taken place this month, but it hasn't, basically because Mr. Lekota and that choir have made sure that it does not proceed.
And the party you say that you still belong to said that it held a Congress, a national committee in June, and of course it did quorate, and it is the highest decision-making body for your party, and they say that they took a decision to expel you. They also then gave you 14 days to appeal your expulsion, and that 14 days has lapsed last Sunday. Did you reach out to your party and appeal this expulsion?
The highest decision-making body in COPE is the Congress. Now, the CNC is the body, basically, that operates between Congresses to make sure that which the Congress has come up with gets implemented. Now, the four national leaders, including myself, received letters of suspensions, which were very soon followed by other letters of dismissals. Now, your question is whether the people who sent us those letters were genuine leaders. No, they were not. Mr. Lekota is basically out of order, I must say. Why? Because he himself, myself, the treasurer, who must do work on a daily basis, agreed that we must have a CNC. And we even went on further and agreed on the date and time. And I have everything recorded, not only on paper, but visually and audio. We agreed, and we were supposed to have that meeting. But then even before we could hold that meeting, he went out and held a meeting with that choir of his, those friends of his. And then they came up with all this kind of nonsense kind of decisions. Therefore, that which they've come up with is nothing.
Mr. Madisha, in terms, clearly here you are disgruntled by the decisions which have been taken by some in your party, and you are saying that they are out of order. When it comes to taking the necessary steps to make sure that you retain your position as the deputy president of COPE, what direction will you be taking in the near future to ensure that you challenge this decision which was taken by some members of your party?
One has already begun to proceed with that because, number one, look, I kept quiet for the whole month. Why? Because I was consulting with the members of COPE in all the provinces, the leadership of COPE in all the provinces, with the legal advisors as well, and with other leaders with whom we served in the 80s. In the United Democratic Front, to say, if Lekota and this choir of his are doing this kind of things, what do we do? And they are all agreed that this thing has got to stop. And that is why before the end of the week, the court shall have said to deal with this kind of problem, And I can assure you that which these people have come up with will not take them anywhere. But I must emphasize, please permit me, that the people who are elected directly from the Congress are 12. And only 2 of those people, Mr. Lekota and a certain Mr. Luate, are the ones who were at that particular meeting, and they took the non-members of COPE and took those particular decisions. Therefore, you are here dealing with something that is, from non-entities. And this is something that will not go anywhere.
And Mr. Madisha, clearly you are taking this matter to court. How soon can we see this matter being heard in our courts in South Africa? At the same time, what exactly are you going to be challenging when it comes to your expulsion?
Congress of the People is the one that is taking this whole thing there. I'm saying Congress of the People because the members, the regents, the women, the youth in COPE have risen to say we cannot allow this kind of thing. And they are the ones that have prompted us. As I'm referring to myself and Keko, Bloom, etc., to say that this whole thing must be taken to courts, and by the end of this week, this whole thing will have come to an end. But I'm extremely, extremely saddened by what Mr. Lekota is doing. He is not coming to Parliament. I go there alone. I go to Parliament on a daily basis. Thereafter, I've got to go to the office and move to all the provinces. At times, go home once after 3 months. He is not there altogether. But then he can only go out and call these young fellows, some of whom, like I said, I repeat, are not members of COPE, and come up with this kind of decision.
And have you reached out to the president of COPE? Are you able to resolve some of these problems? I mean, last year we saw that scuffle break out live on television. And I remember you saying that, you have reached out to the other side of COPE, and you are willing to sit down and resolve the problems in which, clearly is within the party. What is Mr. Lekota saying to you directly, if indeed you are reaching out to him?
When he comes to Parliament, he does not talk to me. And I say when he comes, he will only come. For example, this year, he came only once during the State of the Nation address and disappeared thereafter. But then, coming back to your question, yes, I have tried. And fortunately, I keep on keeping the notes, not just notes. Like I showed the other people in the media during the day when they came here, on my cell phones, the messages that I've sent him, WhatsApp, the emails that we sent him, he does not respond. I've gone to his house with the security. The security people at the gates even went there with me. We knocked, he refused to open. I went there with the Keko, with the other people. He refused. He doesn't open, So we can't reach him. We don't know what is happening.
Going into the 2024 elections, surely this will be damaging. You only have 2 seats in Parliament. One would say that, the chances of you retaining these 2 seats in Parliament will be very difficult because of the internal battles you are facing.
When we first went to Parliament, you may remember, we were voted for by 1.5 million people. And the numbers have gone down to where we are at the moment. We initially had 37 and we're only 2 at the moment. But I can assure you that once we shall have dealt with this kind of problem, inside a period of 3-4 months, everything will have been dealt with. We know where the problems are. We know why he and his small group are hiding and making sure that things don't move on properly. And I can assure you that we shall deal with this. And I plead with the people of South Africa to still be with COPE and make sure that they do vote for COPE. And I can assure them that COPE shall be able to take them somewhere.
Mr. Madisha, thank you so much for your time. That is Willie Madisha. He claims that he is still the deputy president of COPE.